What is up, my overpowered tubers? It is I, the Emperor, and I'm back with another video. We're talking Dragon Ball Z, not just Vegetto no F, Resurrection F. We're talking about the question that I posed in my last video, which is, are we too critical of Toriyama? Should we as fans expect more or not? So with this video, I'm going to actually read some of the comments that were put in that video's comments. Now, for those of you who have left comments, first of all, I do want to thank you. And thank you again for subscribing. And those of you who have not subscribed, click that subscribe button and get on it. Spread the word about the channel. I want this channel to grow really, really big. I'm going to be doing some non-Dragon Ball stuff on this channel as well. But I'm actually very happy with the community that we have so far. Very, very happy with people who have commented. Very, very happy with the interaction that we've got so far. It's I've got, as of the time of this recording right now, I've got 651 subscribers, and that's great. I couldn't tell you how humbled I am. My goal is to hit over 10,000, so we'll see what happens here. I'm gonna work hard on it, bring you the best content that I can. But the 651 that I've got right now are awesome, and if I do ever hit 10,000 or even 1,000, I wouldn't be there without you. So I really appreciate it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really mean it. And I'll do my best to bring you the best content that I can and the best news that I can. And it's all going to be legit, folks. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass talking about this and that, making claims that I have secret scripts for movies that haven't even been made yet. I'm not doing that here. I'm not doing that. That's for somebody else. However, I'm trying my best to be as interactive as possible, so I'm going to go down the comment section right now of the previous video, which, like I said, I'm going to link it right here and right below, and I will, if I miss your comment, okay, one of two things happen. Number one, the video was probably running too long, or number two, you probably commented after I recorded this, so don't take it personal. If I do not reply to your comment, again, don't take it personal. It's tough. I'm not ignoring you. I'm going to reply to as many as I can, and we'll talk about it, okay? So let me go down the list real quick here. I'm going to start at the bottom. Let's go all the way down. And the question is, are we too critical of Toriyama? The first person, this is a big one right here. This is a big one. Maans. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, and that's the other thing. If I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize up front here. But M-A, capital A, A-N-S says, I say yes. Yes, we are expecting a bit much. I mean, just ask yourself, does any of that really even matter? Frieza's race didn't band together to destroy planet Vegeta, and they aren't all being revived to kill the Saiyans. That's all Frieza's doing. And by the way, I'm saying to make y'all happy. For all we know, Frieza's race is at peace, and he himself is evil. That's a good point, and that's very possible. Knowing his backstory isn't going to change his hatred for the Z Fighters, and it's not going to change the plot for this movie. You're right, but the issue isn't really about the backstory. It's more about trying to give a visual explanation as to how he's able to have such a power-up. That's kind of the big thing here. So he continues, and Launch, you can't be serious, man. Most people either don't care, don't know who she is, or don't care to know who she is. Do you really care that much about anyone that has no significant roles after Dragon Ball? So, okay, a couple things, bro. I feel you, but folks, you gotta understand this. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is the same shit, all right? What happened with North America and the fact that we got Dragon Ball Z and that's where it really got over, that's not how it is in Japan. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is one big story. You guys got to understand that. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. It's meant to be seen from beginning to end. You are not meant to start at Radix. I'm sorry, but you're not. That's the truth. You're meant to start at Pilaf. He continues, besides DB was a comedy, Toriyama didn't start getting serious until the end with King Piccolo through DBZ. That is true. No denying that. And it's still the greatest whether Launch is or not. Yeah, I'm not saying that Launch is a crucial character. I'm just thinking back. I'm using these examples, bro. I'm using these examples as examples of Toriyama introducing something and not following up. That's what, my whole point. Now, he continues and he says, Shapeshifting School, LOL. I know those were just examples, but come on, bro. If I was going to ask any questions, it would be why Goten can go from Super Saiyan 3, but Goten and Trunks can't go SSJ1, and when did he learn it? That is a good question. We actually don't know. The only thing we can surmise is that when Goten and Trunks fuse and the fusion multiplier kicks in, because the way fusion is supposed to work is it combines your two power levels. The difference between the finger fusion and the Potara fusion is that the finger fusion gives you, like, if you and I are both at 1,000, when we fuse we're at 2,000. That's my interpretation of it from the guidebooks and things like that. The Potara is times. So if you're at 1,000, I'm at 1,000, we're at 10,000. You know what I mean? So that's how that works. From watching Goku, I would guess, but it's never stated. Exactly, I agree. That's how I think they learned it. Why Vegetto couldn't reach a higher power level than SSJ1, and if he was strong enough to whoop Buu as candy, how was he able to be captured and absorbed? All right, you got to go back and watch those episodes, bro. I'll explain that one right now. Vegetto could reach a higher power level. Toriyama, I don't remember if he was asked about this when it was, but I could have sworn I read an interview where Toriyama said that yes, Vegetto can reach SSJ3, but he didn't need to. There was no need to because Vegetto was so powerful by himself that there was no need to. And you're asking how was he able to be captured and absorbed? Because he allowed it to happen. You've got to watch that episode again. Vegetto allowed Buu to turn him into candy so that he can go inside and save Goten, Trunks, and Gohan and them. That was the whole purpose. You can even see, I have never seen the dub of this, so maybe that's why, but you can see Vegetto kind of waiting for it to happen. Like the whole fight is he's waiting to get absorbed, because Goku and Vegeta knew if they went inside of him with the barrier, they were able to save the kids. So that's done on purpose. And this is what he says. He says Goten and Trunks are most likely not in this movie. Oh yeah, I forgot to say spoilers. I'm gonna put it in the thing. There are spoilers for Got to Know F. I'll put it in the description. So he says Goten and Trunks are most likely not in this movie due to increase the hype of their next appearance. We don't know that yet, but it's possible. Just imagine how hyped you will be to see teasers of their character designs and new abilities in the next movie. You're right, I will be hyped, and I think a lot of us will. Accept what Dragon Ball Z is. Don't think or wish about what it could be, because we all know no matter how good your imagination, Toriyama will outdo anything any of us come up with. That I disagree with. You can't... That kind of hero worship, bro, I understand that Toriyama is a very smart man, very creative man, but you can't sit there and say that he could outdo all of us. I mean, you're kind of burying yourself in that sense. You know, it's just not a good mentality to have. Just you never say that, because there's always going to be new writers, new creative people. You know, come on. You know, he's just a human being like any of us. People adding their own ideas and adaptations is what ruins DBZ. Just look at GT. That's a fair point. Now we will most likely never get an original Toriyama version of SSJ4. Well, you did. It's called Super Saiyan God. That's what you've got, bro. And although Broly's a badass, imagine how much more badass a legendary Super Saiyan bent on killing Goku would be if he made it himself. Well, he did design Broly, I'm pretty sure, so he kind of did. By the way, GT was pure horseshit if you ask me. Yeah, I watched it, but it was me being desperate to see more DBZ, as I'm sure it is for most people who watched it. I'm sure it's true for the animators, the company who made it. There's a reason people demand more from Toriyama and not Toei. Well, I don't agree with everything you said. I responded to the video as best I could, but thank you. Thank you for your comment. And I'm glad that we can all at least love Dragon Ball together. Next comment here. Now, some people made just comments, but I'm going to actually reply to some of these, like the actual criticisms of Toriyama or whatever. I'm going to go through here. Tyler Watson says he's a lazy writer. I didn't even know about the Dark Kais. Wow, so much opportunity wasted on laziness. Yeah, he was interviewed, was it? I forgot if it was 08 or 09. And he mentioned the Makaio Shin. And for those who don't know, for those who were not in the comment section for this, Toriyama says that other than the Kaioshin, which is like, the Supreme Kai, and, all those people, there's also evil versions of them that are demonic. And a lot of people thought that Whis and, like, the villains for Battle of Gods before the movie came out, like when there was, just pictures, a lot of people thought they were the Macayos, but they weren't. So it's another idea that Toriyama threw out there and has not followed up on. The Macayos, same thing with some of the other stuff that we talked about. Simeon Sibley says, I think Akira Toriyama thinks that fans want an action-packed movie, not a boring storytelling movie like Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, although I like Battle of Gods. I don't think Toriyama is lazy because if he can create so many great moments in DBZ, I wouldn't think he's lazy. I think we should just sit down and enjoy the movie. I agree to an extent, but I disagree about boring storytelling movie. Who said anything about it having to be boring? It's got to have I'm talking about a plot. A movie, a great film. I don't care if it's Dragon Ball or fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't give a shit. A great film has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this movie, based on everything we've read, does not have that. It's got a beginning and then a fight. There's no middle. There's no plot. There's no journey. All the great films have journeys. And even though Dragon Ball movies in the 90s were kind of the same formula, it's now, again, that's my whole argument. It is now 2015. Is it time for this guy to write a real journey? And I thought Battle of Gods wasn't exactly like an epic journey, but it was a journey in that there was an actual story. It opened things up. Then the journey was mostly Beerus's journey. But I do agree with you in the sense that people should enjoy the movie as much as they could. That I will agree. Enjoy the good parts of the movie. Let's see the best in everything. So I agree with you there. Now, there's a few other comments that are not about the Toriyama thing, which I'm going to skip. But shout-outs to all y'all. Marcus Wright, The Worst, Andox. I don't know if I'm saying your names right. I hope I am. But big shout-outs. And I'm not forgetting you. I'm just looking at the Toriyama stuff here. Mayans wrote another very similar comment, which I'm not. He kind of said the same thing, so I'm not really going to read it. One of my favorites here, Kaka Carrot Cake, writes, I'm 23 years old. I grew up with DB, DBZ, and even DBGT, which I don't like too much, but I also do, if that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense because I think we all feel the same. But if you make some series like GT exactly the same, with same flaws, I would still watch my ass off of that show, and I would like it. Doesn't matter to me. I just want more DB content. DB has many flaws from beginning to end, and it's the best thing I've ever seen. I choose quantity over quality. I like it. I really do. And normally, I wouldn't disagree with you, but I disagree somewhat because I feel that Toriyama and Toei should be capable of giving us quality and quantity. And I would rather have a really good series of movies than a really shitty TV show, even though it's more episodes. You know what I mean? So there you go. Excuse me. GeForce Intel writes, it's not about expectations. It's just that it's common sense for an anime that's been around for 2 decades. And my topic is obvious. It's about Vegeta. Man, come on. Wasn't it really, really obvious for people that knows a bit about Dragon Ball they were considering Vegeta to be the main badass, essentially just because Frieza's in it? Yes, I agree with you. He treated Vegeta since he was a kid like nothing. And as we know, Vegeta, he doesn't take shit from nobody yet. We got this discombobulated ending with stuffed animals surrounding Frieza. What the fuck? Well, that's because he's back in hell, and the way he's being tortured is with the cute stuffed animals. That's kind of what they're talking about. But I think your gripes is more so the fact that Vegeta didn't put him in hell, right? I feel you on that one. I can make a way better movie than all these two combined. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. A lot of fans, and I know a lot about films, and I know a lot about writing and good storytelling. I'm sure all of you do too. Some fans can write better shit than this. Honestly, I feel that way. There are fans that can write a better movie than this, and that's my opinion. First of all, Holiday is a god. Frieza achieved... I don't know if he meant to say that. Frieza achieved this by training. He is not a god. Yeah, I know that. This blue hair transformation is much powerful. Why didn't Beerus say so in the first movie? I don't think Beerus knew. That's my guess. He just didn't know. Plus, he made it seem like a Saiyan god was the strongest being in the universe since he wanted to fight him, and he turned out to be super weak in the second movie. I can go on and on. Well, that was the whole joke, I guess, was that Oracle Fish predicted this great warrior, and Goku is a great warrior, impressed Beerus, but he obviously wasn't like stronger than Beerus, which I'm sure Beerus was happy about, right? Man, I love talking Dragon Ball. Moab Killer 38. I don't think we're expecting too much because society standards, but because of Battle of Gods. That movie raised the bar for DBZ movies, in my opinion. Because of this, the fans will think, since BOG had a great elaborate story, all future DBZ movies will have some great elaborate stories. And we shouldn't think that because we know how Toriyama is sometimes. Boom. I agree with every single thing you just said. And that's the thing that, man, he hit the nail on the head, Moab Killer 38. Battle of Gods was different than the other 13 Dragon Ball Z movies and 3 Dragon Ball movies. I don't know if 4 technically if you count the 10th anniversary of the Path to Power. It was different because it expanded the story. We got a new form, we got 2 new characters, a whole new level of power, and the 12 universes tease, and the tease of Vegeta possibly surpassing Goku. So that's 5 brand new elements to Dragon Ball Z that actually can continue the story in a logical progression. Like, that's good writing, because now we're taking a story that we're already familiar with, and we're adding layers to the universe, right? And I think that people felt like, and I know I did, that Fakatsu no F was going to add more layers. We thought, and even back when they had like the whole worst wish ever thing, there were all the, with the original teaser, before we knew it was Frieza, all these people were saying, Goku's gonna go evil, or he's gonna. My favorite theory, which was actually kind of cool, was somebody said that Goku is gonna wish to open up a portal to their dimensions to fight those guys, and all hell's gonna break loose. The other universes. That would have been awesome. That would have been a fun movie, maybe the next one. But I think we thought, like, when Frieza was revealed as the villain, I think a lot of us were like, what the fuck? But then we thought about it, and we said, well, obviously he's going to get a power-up from another god. Like, a lot of people, I remember 3 or 4 people hit me up, and they were like, I don't think Frieza's really the villain. I think it's a red herring. Some people were actually saying they thought Frieza died halfway through the fucking movie, and we were going to get the real villain. That would have been something. But great comment. Great. He's definitely right. Mark Rhodes said it's both. All right, okay. Dragon Ball Forever writes, yes, I think we're expecting too much. DBZ has always been very simple, easy to understand, but some fans want the story written a certain way, and that's not Akira's style. We should enjoy the fact that after all these years, we're getting new content and stop complaining about everything that's written. No manga anime is perfect. Enjoy the ride. I agree, but like Moab Killer said, with Battle of God set the bar pretty fucking high, so I think that's where the complaints are coming from, honestly. Darius House. Yes, I think we should just sit back and let him do his thing because everyone wants that, and this is his storyline, so I think we're expecting too much in complaint. And I told him I felt this way too. I mean, I get it. I'm in no way am I ever going to disparage Toriyama or be unhappy that we're getting new movies, and I don't think any of the fans will. I just think that we expected more. That's what it is. It's a case of high expectations, and that, again, that's where this whole conversation came from. That are our expectations too high? And a lot of you are saying yes, and I respect that. I respect it because I'm conflicting with myself about this here. Why do I want Toriyama to write at the level of, I don't know, what's a good, Stephen King? I don't know. I'm just throwing a name out there of a writer that everybody knows. Maybe that's a bad example. Vince Gilligan. Or why do I want this guy to write like Vince Gilligan when they're Toriyama and Vince Gilligan are 2 different people? Maybe it's just me and I just expected more. Colonel Stars and Stripes. It depends on what you expect from Toriyama. Dragon Ball has never been a perfect show. It doesn't have superb storytelling. A lot of things don't make any sense, and doesn't have to because it's meant for a younger audience no matter what anyone says. That's the truth. You're right. Absolutely. Nowadays, we want everything spoon-fed. Moments like the first Super Saiyan transformation are over. We will never be as pleased as we were back then. Well, I was pretty pleased with Battle of Gods, bro. I mean, I'm being real with you here. He did it good on that one. You can blame Toriyama if you want to, but the real blame is on the fans. On all the fans. All I read is complaints and complaints. Vegeta didn't kill him. Frieza's new form sucks. Gohan's a wimp. Goku's the hero again. You're right. I agree with you. If Toriyama wants to bet that, then just accept it. You can't do much else. Well, you just don't watch the movie. I mean, if you want to hurt this guy, you just don't pay for it. Goku will always be the hero. Asking for anything else is just disrespectful in my opinion. He tried ending the Cell Saga without Goku as the hero, and we all know how that turned out. I might do a video about that one of these days. Goku's fan base in Japan especially is really huge. He's like the Japanese Superman. That's a good point. Very good point. Toriyama's doing a wonderful job of reviving his franchise, and us old fans should realize he's probably doing it for a new generation of people. Well, I think the idea is that we watch it with our kids now, and I think that's what he was thinking, or people from back then, those of us who have kids. At least I really hope so. Would love for my future children to be able. There you go. See, it's an amazing show, an old and maybe even a new format. In the end, Toriyama did great, had a huge influence on my life. I'm sure I wouldn't be who I was now if I didn't grow up with his show. Curious about that, but I actually kind of agree. Dragon Ball has helped me get through depression and things like that in the past, so I feel you on that one. All right, we're at the 20-minute mark, so I'm going to try and rush through some of these. So just letting you know, I might not get to yours. If I don't, I apologize. Don't take it personal. I'm just doing it the best I can. I don't want to make this a 45-minute video. But it's still going to be long, so let's keep going. Jamal Munir. I think the disappointment is largely because Akira has stuck to the style he's always used instead of evolving, and because he has brought up many great ideas but just leaves them alone after a mention. Yes, that's it. He brings so much potential to expand the DB verse, but then after initial mention, he tends to leave them to the disappointment of fans. Look at the 12 universes that set up the possibility for so much. Hell, it even introduced the concept of SSJ God versus SSJ4 being a canon fight, which would have been awesome despite me hating GT. That was actually a discussion that we had in a different video I did about the alternate universes, and I remember saying that it's possible that maybe GT was an alternate universe, but Beerus didn't actually say alternate universe. However, it's not too late to retcon that. So, he didn't say it was a multiverse, but who knows? I mean, who really knows? We still haven't gotten anything else to follow up on that, right? Moises Wins, who has one of my favorite pictures. I remember that video game commercial. We did expect too much from him, but that was only from nostalgic hardcore DBZ fans. New fans were excited for everything since they don't know the real DBZ. But at the same time, Toriyama showed that he doesn't give a fuck about the past and made a whole new DBZ with transformation, etc. So in other words, he took the attitude of, I made DBZ, so what I do, just deal with it, and it's DBZ, and kids nowadays don't know, thinking the hardcore fans would be okay with that. And that's the George Lucas thing. That's the whole thing. And now those of you guys who have not seen this movie, it's on Netflix. Y'all got to check out The People versus George Lucas, because it's basically the same thing we're talking about here. It's literally the documentary. And I wish I'd spoke Japanese, bro, and I had a little more money, a little more resources to do this. I would totally make a documentary, The People versus Akira Toriyama, and examine the same thing. Should a person who creates something that is this iconic in the culture of the world, because you gotta understand, Dragon Ball is over in Japan, in Mexico, in the U.S. Dragon Ball is without a doubt the most successful Japanese animated show of all time. Period. That's a fact. So it's a cultural icon, the show. Should somebody who created it have the creative right to tamper with it? Which is the whole George Lucas thing about him going back and changing the movies and shit. Toriyama creating plot holes and things like that. Changing Goku's origin, Dragon Ball Minus. Even though, it's only manga, but still it counts. Or because it's been such a powerful and ingrained product, does he have to listen to the people? And I personally feel like as a writer and as a creator, there is some responsibility to the people, but ultimately it is your vision. So I'm very divided on this. AKA, I think great writers listen to their audience, but also have the capabilities of taking their audience on a ride with them. And Toriyama's done that before, and I think that we all believe he can do it again. That's the big thing. Saiyan Baller, my boy, and I wonder who his team is. I'm sure he's gonna tell me. I like the Mavericks right now, but they almost never win all the way. But whatever. I like the Mavericks. All right, give me a break. Interesting topic, but I'd say we are expecting too much of him because since he opens the doors to other content, we want to know about it. Then after he does bring it up. He doesn't touch on it, but he's always been like this, so it shouldn't come off as a surprise. Yeah, that was the thing. And then Jess Does Roblox left a comment in there about Frieza's race, the Arcosians. I'll do a video about this one of these days. The Arcosians, the word Arcosian is a dub term. He also mentioned Frieza's mother. Frieza's mother, there is absolutely zero mention of Frieza's mother in any of the Dragon Ball canon. It was some line he said in the English version about my parents spanked me. I remember. It was like season 3. I remember the shit. That's why I hate the fucking dub sometimes, man, because it confuses people, and y'all don't deserve to be confused. The Arcosian, Frieza is not quote-unquote an Arcosian. That's not even part of the story, you know. And then his mother, as far as we know, the Frieza race is asexual, but there's no guarantee. Don't quote me on that. There's nothing that actually says that. But we've only seen King Cold and Frieza, and then Cooler if you count the non-canon movies. That's all we know. So we still don't know for sure if he even has a mother, you know, or at all. Alec Toledo. The only reason I say why I feel like people are expecting too much from him is because he has been done completely with Dragon Ball 19 years ago and is now 60 years old, but it doesn't mean you can't be disappointed. And then I asked him if I think he should pass the torch, and then he replied back saying yes. If he really finds someone who's a good storyteller and closely followed the show, that person could expand on 12 universes. Naho Oshii kind of did that, but a lot of people don't like Naho Oshii because she comes off like a Bardock fangirl, and she was. Maybe she's not the answer. Maybe Toyble. Maybe Toyotaro is the answer. So who knows? Here we go. This is a good one right here. This will be the last one, all right? So those of you who left comments, Kaz Voten, Chris OG305, I can't make this video any longer. I might get to it. Fuck it. You know what? Maybe I'll make it a little longer. Fuck this shit. Honestly, we're going to start with John Infa. Honestly, I like Dragon Ball, but it's mostly because of the nostalgia factor. We are indeed expecting too much from him because looking back, yes, I enjoyed Dragon Ball, but not as much as before because honestly, his writing isn't that good. And lots of plot holes. That I feel you on that one, bro. And I love Dragon Ball, but I want to love it. I don't want to not love it, right? Again, the battered housewife syndrome. I want to love this shit. I don't want to not love it. I would have loved to know more about Frieza's race, but no, too many unexplained things. But it works because in the world of Dragon Ball, it's very special. Still like it, but I think it's because of how mangas were written back then. Well, mangas are all different, so it wasn't just his mangas maybe, but not all of them. Some other mangas are way, way deeper. And then, actually, in the comments, John actually writes about how Toriyama's rich, so he doesn't really have to care. And it's like, I get that, but in my opinion, I've always felt that even if you're rich, even if you're stinking rich, if you're going to come back to your own product, you got to have some responsibility. You got to bring it. You know what I mean? Even if just because you're successful doesn't mean that you can just be lazy like that. In fact, part of the reason why he is successful is because he was not lazy, because he wrote his ass off for years and years and years from 81 to 95 or whatever. I mean, the guy was an animal. You know, and obviously he was younger back then. I don't think one movie's going to hurt him now. All right, let's move on. I'm going to get to as quickly as we can here. Kaz Voeten, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I think you're right. But I think it's his creativity as a tipping point. Yes, he doesn't explain things very often, but his stories have always been interesting nonetheless. I feel like he's either about to create an amazing story where the new god for science are about to visit other universes, or it's going to be loose and inconsequential. Maybe even lazy things like this. I sincerely hope that this is just filler. Well, I don't think it is, bro, but not in the sense of what filler is. Since it's fun nonetheless, but I'm hoping for a more interesting and thorough story in the future. I feel like Battle of the Gods created a very cool story opportunities. Thank you. I really hope he follows up on those, since now it seems as if he doesn't. Chris OG305, yes and no. Why? Because we do expect a lot from Toriyama, because we have been fans for many years, and for him not to explain all those plot holes in the new movie, it sucks, because his was a chance to start all over with new transformations and new stuff, basically. Now I say no as well, because I feel Toriyama aims this new movie for new fans and is forgetting it by his true fans. I feel like he decided to bring back Frieza so that a new generation of youth could get into that, and for a new generation of Dragon Ball Z fans, he doesn't need to explain anything since it worked for Toriyama back in the day. Well, remember, even though we have new Dragon Ball fans, Frieza's not new to them. If you started watching Dragon Ball in Kai or a couple years ago on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, you're watching it start to finish, you know who Frieza is. You know what I mean? So I don't think that this is supposed to be like, oh, this is Frieza. This is who we knew back then. Because it's the same show. You know what I mean? My point is that Toriyama's aimed this movie for a new generation of fans, but at the same time he tried to bring back an old famous enemy so that the old generation fans could have some fun watching the movie, but I feel so bad he went that route. Yeah, but you are spot on, though, about the fact that he brought back Frieza basically because Frieza draws money. I mean, I'm going to use a carny term there. Frieza draws money. That's going to do it. I mean, there's a lot of more comments. Emmanuel Soar, Spanish Zombie, shout-outs, Super Saiyan God Vegetto 9000, which is an awesome name. That's like an internet 1998 name right there that I would have used. The Worst 17 had a great comment. I'm over 30 minutes right now. I can't. We'll probably do another video of anything about this. And then Mayans put another comment. And one thing Mayans said, just fucking sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. He talked about how we haven't even explored this universe yet. So what about the 12 other universes? What about this one? You're right. That's a very solid point. Very valid point. You're very smart. Tinitial, right? Am I saying it right? Tinitial. 5 great points. I just don't have time here. We'll have to do another video then about it. But thanks again, everybody. Leave a comment, subscribe, spread the word. I'll catch you down the road.